Hey Cobra Kai fans, it's Ian Preston here on my first channel, Ian Preston. Welcome back to another Cobra Kai video and me talking about my honest opinions on Cobra Kai characters. And we're going to be doing one of the main ones and kind of pretty much the star of one of them, played by the legendary Ralph Macchio. We're going to be doing my opinion on Daniel LaRusso. And shout out to Ralph Macchio for playing Daniel LaRusso and doing other cool stuff. You were great, and last year was such a big year for you. And I even have his book too that he did 2 years ago. But anyway, let's get into this. Let's see, Ralph Macchio, Daniel LaRusso. It just his story begins in The Karate Kid, where he's moving from New Jersey to California. Then he starts getting picked on, and then eventually after he's had enough, he gets saved by Miyagi, and then he teaches him the art of karate. Daniel crane kicks Johnny and also does win the heart of Ali, but eventually loses it in part two. But then he goes to Okinawa with Miyagi to help him when his father dies, and gets almost killed by Chosen, but also wins the heart of Kamiko, and also saves Sato in a tsunami and a little girl named Yuna, and then eventually gets in a fight with Chosen and defeats him, but spares his life. And his story is just so inspirational. And then in part three, he naively goes against Miyagi's advice, and then naively goes against Mike Barnes and also Terry Silver's advice and all in his training, turns him into a violent person. And when him and Miyagi get into an argument about the All Valley tournament, but then eventually when Miyagi realizes what really happened, oh yeah, and Jessica Andrews, they do not become boyfriend and girlfriend because she had a boyfriend and they just decide to be friends. But anyway, eventually Miyagi does feel free to train him when he realizes what's really going on. And at first Daniel's like paralyzed, not knowing what to do in part three when he's against Mike Barnes, but then Miyagi helps him get back up. Daniel gets back up and defeats Mike Barnes and wins. And then after years and years, apparently Jessica got him in touch with her cousin Amanda. I guess that's how he met Amanda. They get married, have kids. They have Sam and Anthony, and then eventually he starts a business called LaRusso Auto and never goes to college, I guess. But then eventually Miyagi passes away. Then eventually Daniel gets reunited with Johnny Lawrence again and feels free to fix up his car for free. But when he sees Johnny brings Cobra Kai back, um, and learns about after Kyler lies to Daniel, the rivalry gets resurrected. And wondering why he needs to bring back Cobra Kai, he tries getting the landlord to screw everything up and jack up the rent, but it doesn't work, unfortunately. But he does end up hiring Robbie, and then ends up training him, and him being the sensei, and does also visit Miyagi's grave in season one. And then eventually, when he sees that, once eventually he learns about how his cousin Louie destroyed Johnny's Firebird, they end up catching up like lost friends or something. But then eventually Johnny leaves when he figures out what Robbie's doing, and then Daniel shuts out Robbie when he's like, "You lied to me." But then in the tournament, when he sees Robbie compete, he starts cheering him on. Eventually, after Robbie gets injured, Robbie apologizes to him for lying. But then eventually, Johnny wins, but not the right way. He didn't want to win the right way. So that's when Daniel opens up Miyagi-Do. He trains Sam and Robbie, and then more students as things get rough and rough with the karate drama. And then eventually, when the school fight happens, he closes Miyagi-Do. But then eventually, when more things happen and gets rough with trying to find Robbie, and then still him and Johnny failing to like work together and decide to not work together, they end up um, um, just going their separate ways. And then eventually, after things get worse and worse, he reopens Miyagi-Do and boosts Sam's confidence again about saying you're the only one that can get back up when you're down. And I like how he tries his best to be a good father, but there are times where Daniel's just annoying sometimes. And like he was kind of annoying in season one, because then eventually when Johnny gets back in, and like in your face, Daniel LaRusso, and go Johnny Lawrence. And I can't believe I was saying that, but he was really annoying in that part where the committee meeting about the All Valley in season one. But anyway, what else? Eventually, he does trust Miguel after they have a talk after saving the All Valley and training more Miyagi Do. Him and his wife Amanda go out to a party, and then eventually he gets reunited with Allie, and then Johnny and Allie and Amanda and Daniel get to have dinner together, and then eventually Allie helps them stop the rivalry. Daniel even saves Johnny from Kreese and uses the pressure points that he learned from when he went to Okinawa. He did go to Okinawa to try to save his business, but then eventually runs into Kamiko and then into Chosen, where he teaches him more about the secrets of Miyagi-Do with the pressure points. And then Yuna comes and says that she was going to save his business. But anyway, yeah, so Tom Cole's screwed now. But anyway, and then they in season 4 they do team up, but then they guess they had ups and downs, and they're trying to like work together, like they teach each other both styles, and then eventually things get rough and rough as they go, and Cobra Kai keeps striking, and they decide to go their separate ways again. And but then the tournament, when things go up and down here and there, which I kind of am with Sam on this one with some things, and I think Daniel like sometimes kind of had it all wrong, and how I did thought like when Sam did defeat Piper, I'm like Sam won. He should be proud of him. And I'm like Daniel's just being an idiot, like literally. No offense, Ralph. I don't think you are. Just the character, it just gets annoying in Cobra Kai. Like I feel like he really hasn't got it all together. And yes, he really did have Cobra Kai in him, and he had a little. He ended up getting a little bit of Eagle Fang in him too when he yelled Anthony to quiet. But Silver was right about him. But other than that, at least they did make up it during the tournament and were there for Sam when Sam lost to Tori. And then Daniel gets chosen to come to America to help him defeat Silver and expose him for who he is. And eventually Silver plays with them, driving a wedge between him and Amanda. And then when Amanda learns what really happened, and then Daniel gets severely hurt, she wants to team up with Johnny and Chosen and Sam and everyone else to help them take Silver down, and she convinces Daniel of that and apologizes for not seeing that until now. And he also does reunite with Mike Barnes and reconciles with them too. But eventually, Daniel and them they go throughout the season. They do their best, like getting ready, and they also try to get entered for the Sekai Taikai, which they successfully succeed. And then they go out that night because Johnny's girlfriend Carmen is pregnant. And then eventually they get into trouble. They all team up to go and expose Silver, and Daniel crane kicks Silver into the glass and gets him arrested. But then in season 6, they kind of like have a debate about a new dojo name. But then eventually, throughout the season 6, they just stick with Miyagi Do. But eventually, as they train and try to get people prepared for the Sekai Taikai, Tori's mom passes away, and then Johnny and Daniel get into an argument and then end friendship, and then go to the Sekai Taikai, still cannot agree, and then eventually Daniel gets kidnapped when he tries to find an old friend of Miyagi, when he thinks he was trying to find an old friend of Miyagi, but I guess it was a trap. But he manages to escape, and then him and Johnny do resolve their differences, and then when Silver returns and turns out he didn't go to jail, Johnny and Daniel come together and are glad Carmen's okay. Then eventually they still argue again after they defeated Cobra Kai in a tag team thing, but then one team gets disqualified for cheating and Cobra Kai comes back. And then they argue again, but Miguel helps them a little bit resolve this, and then they get into a huge brawl in the tournament, and then Daniel, I hear there's rumors that Daniel's going to be to blame or something, like he's going to blame himself or something for Kwan's death or something, because he was going to try to stop it. But anyway, yeah, we're going to see how his story wraps up in season 6, part 3. and we'll see what Daniel's story brings in the Karate Kid Legends. But other than that, I think he's one of the main characters. He's like one of the main stars of the show and the franchise. Like, my opinion, yeah, he's okay. I kind of relate to him when I was 17 years old when I first watched the Karate Kid movies, and I kind of felt like related to him, but I didn't have the bullied problems that he had. But other than that, he really picked up on karate really well when he learned it, and he's come a long way, and he's really come a long way. He's really There are times where he is annoying and all, but there are times where he does come around and learns and picks up on things and tries his best to be a good parent. And he might not be perfect, but he tries his best to be a good parent. And it's really cool how he became a sensei and how far he's come. But anyway, he's a good character in a way, in my opinion, and sometimes not a good character in my opinion, my way, because sometimes I kind of agree with Johnny more in Cobra Kai. But anyway, maybe there are times where I was rooting for Daniel though too as well. But yeah, but anyway, that was my opinion on Daniel LaRusso. And thank you guys for watching. Shout out to you, Ralph Macchio, and thank you guys for watching. Hit that subscribe button, turn on the notification bell, check out Ian Preston reviews, link will be in the description. And strike first, strike hard, no mercy. Hiya!